Hello everyone and welcome to SentUAMessage. I'm Jane Douglas from MSN Tech and Gadgets.
And I'm Dan Marr, Xbox Live Editor for Europe.
No, you're not.
Am I not?
No. Pretty sure you're Andy, the Inside Xbox editor.
Right, yeah, I find it hard to tell sometimes because of the hair and everything. Who are you again, Jessica Chobot?
No, Jane.
Right, Jane Douglas, Xbox Live's Major Nelson.
No. Let's just start with the questions, shall we?
Head on, Larry.
Okay, first up, XI Mystic wants to know if the passing DLC for Left 4 Dead 2 has a release date and how much it will cost.
Yeah, this is the passing downloadable content for Left 4 Dead 2 that we've mentioned before on the show, and that was initially scheduled to come out before the end of March.
However, the content has been put back on both PC and Xbox and will no longer be releasing this month. The official line from Valve is the maddeningly vague spring, although hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later.
It should be worth the wait though. It includes a new campaign and also introduces a couple of new weapons, an M60 heavy machine gun, which is a special tier weapon that you can't reload, much like the chainsaw, and a golf club, useful for both that tricky chip round a dog leg onto the green and knocking a zombie's head clean off his shoulders.
There's also a new uncommon infected called the Fallen Survivor, a well-equipped survivor of the initial outbreak who became infected later on, who comes loaded up with Molotov cocktails, meaning a stray bullet can cause a rapidly spreading inferno, and a new bride version of the witch.
Added to this, Valve have confirmed that it'll add new game modes, that's modes with an S, as in the plural, and we're fairly sure that one of these is a new cooperative challenge mode of play.
Plus, of course, there's the much vaunted crossover with the original Left 4 Dead cast to look forward to. Sorry we don't have a firm release date, but it'll be 560 MS points when it's ready. Next on the question block is Matt Healy via Twitter, who is asking if there's any plans to sell the 250 gig standalone hard drive in the UK.
Yeah, with ever-increasing game install sizes, massive demos, we're looking at you, Just Cause 2, and games on demand coming out, sometimes even 120 gigabytes isn't enough storage for today's Xbox gamer.
So, Microsoft has brought out a bigger hard drive, the 250 gig standalone drive that Matt Healy mentions in his question.
Now, it's already available in Japan and the US, but it is coming to Europe. It's already available to pre-order on amazon.co.uk with a release date of the 16th of April, and Amazon are listing an RRP of $79.99. Now, we've seen it cheaper elsewhere, so you might want to shop around. The 250 gig hard drive will come with a data transfer kit as well to move all your precious saves and such, but remember, if you want to get a data transfer kit on its own, you need to contact Xbox support, where it'll cost you $12.99. Right, the recently released Final Fantasy 13 obviously isn't enough for Bahamut100-190, who has heard rumours about a Final Fantasy 7 remake and wants a final answer on whether it's fantasy.
I see what you did there. Yeah. Well, yeah, this rumour's been going around forever, almost to the point of becoming an industry joke. But apparently enough people have been yelling about it to Yoichi Wada, president of Square Enix, that he's started to take notice.
Do you think my letters got to him?
How many did you send?
11,000.
Might have had something to do with it, yeah. So, Wada's clearly getting fed up with everyone moaning at him about Final Fantasy VII Remake, so has finally given some indication that it's something Square are prepared to consider.
Right now, we don't have a clear direction, but many fans have requested we remake Final Fantasy VII, he told Siliconera via website VG247 at the recent Final Fantasy XIII launch party. We're going to explore the possibility, whether or not we're going to do it, if we're going to do it, and the platform.
While it might not sound like much, that's literally the most concrete statement anyone has made about the possibility of an FF7 remake since rumours began, and coming from Wada, the top man at Square Enix, it carries a fair bit of weight to it.
Of course, other people have been teasing about it for a while. Final Fantasy XIII's director Motomu Toriyama said it would be the game he would most like to remake, and the producer Yoshinori Kitase said last month that he would be really interested in taking on a remake of FF7.
So, people want to do it, the boss is interested in the possibility, and it seems half the internet would fight their way to the top of a smoking pile of their closest best friend's bones to pay Square Enix money for it. It's nowhere near a confirmation, but it's the best we've had so far.
Okay, Deep101 has spent, he claims, over 500 hours playing Street Fighter 4, amassing a hefty total of battle and championship points in the process. He wants to know if that time has been wasted when it comes to Super Street Fighter 4, or whether he'll be able to carry the points over to the new game.
Right, well, we contacted Capcom to find out what the deal was with your points, and we're sorry to say, Deet, that it's bad news. Capcom was very nice about it, though, explaining everything with a series of baffling sporting metaphors.
So, in short, no you can't. In long, you should apparently think of it like new rules for an existing sport, or an offshoot like five-a-side football with teams from the Premiership. They wouldn't get to bring their standings with them because the rules have changed, but clearly anyone that's doing well right now will also do well with the new system.
They went on to add that they're also saying it's something like rugby union and rugby league, but that they don't like that analogy because rugby's rubbish.
It's also worth pointing out that players of Super Street Fighter 4 will not be able to play against people using Street Fighter 4. That's where the rugby analogy works slightly better, since you can't have two teams on a pitch playing different rules, no matter how awesome or confusing it may be.
Arca Noodles remembers a time when vampires were there to be brutally whipped, not glitter in the sun, so he's naturally curious about Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Well, so are we, Mr. Noodles, as we're suspecting that Konami is waiting until E3 2010 to unleash the latest details of their highly anticipated reboot. However, there's already a lot of info floating around like Dracula and Mistform, so here's what we can reveal for the time being.
Perhaps the most controversial aspect of this return to Castlevania is that the series' longtime producer Koji Igarashi has had no involvement in its development. Instead, the whip has been passed down to Mercury Steam, the Spanish team behind the indifferently received Clive Barker's Jericho, with support from Metal Gear Solid author Hideo Kojima.
According to the game's producer Dave Cox, Mercury Steam shouldn't be held solely responsible for Jericho's failings, as he believes that Lords of Shadow will be the game that shows what the studio is truly capable of.
Symphony of the Night fans may be disappointed to learn that Lords of Shadow takes its stylistic cues from the original Castlevania and Super Castlevania 4, although the storyline is in no way connected to any of the previous entries in the 24-year-old franchise.
That's not to say that it doesn't feature someone with the surname Belmont whipping a menagerie of dark creatures back into the black void from whence they came, but he certainly wouldn't recognise Simon, Trevor and co at a family reunion.
Lords of Shadow has attracted a cast of genuine A-list voice talent, including Eragon's Robert Carlyle taking on the role of Gabriel Belmont and Bambi 2's Patrick Stewart as the mysterious Sobek. It's a pretty good indicator of just how importantly Konami is taking this resurrection, particularly as Castlevania has yet to receive a convincing 3D overhaul.
Although ostensibly similar to the likes of Dante's Inferno, Konami promises a greater emphasis on platforming and exploration, which is entirely in keeping with the spirit of the series. From what we've seen and heard to date, there's certainly a concerted effort being made to retain the familiar without it feeling like a complete retread of Castlevania's past. Particularly exciting is the promise of Titan bosses, the approach of which Mercury Steam has likened to the stunning Shadow of the Colossus.
Sometime in 2010 is as specific as Konami has gotten to confirming a release date, but we're pretty sure that vagueness will evaporate come E3 this June.
Right,